sampling is one term which is something which is applicable to production, as well as it is also applicable to research, marketing research, or any kind of research where sampling is done. And if you've done any kind of research so far, or if you've read researches so far, you would hear that, let's say, for example, Patna has a population of about 16 lakhs, and someone does a survey in Patna, or let's say menswear. Quite possibly the research agency is going to do a survey with about 500 or 1,000, or a max of 2,000 people, 2,000 men, let's say. And based on the survey, the analysis done, and then the findings are shared with the people. And what we are saying is that upon surveying these 2,000 people, we are predicting that the real market looks like this. So what we have done is that, because it is not possible to meet those 16 lakh people, but still we want to come up with some kind of a prediction or with some kind of knowledge about the market. How do men think about menswear or something like that? So that's why we have to take only a limited number of people. And this process of taking limited number of people is also called sampling. And when we are talking about inspection of raw materials or inspection of finished goods, we are again talking about sampling, where we do not check all the pieces. Now, having said that, let's proceed, and we should be able to have a better hang of what we are talking about. Okay, so we'll start with the concept sampling techniques. So the first thing that we're going to talk about, most textiles and apparel products are manufactured in assembly line batches. So right now we are only talking about such outfits where production is happening in bulk, and let's say the regular order size is about 2,000 to 5,000 pieces. So in such a situation, we can safely say that for one particular production run, the material is the same, the process is the same, and the operator is also the same. When we are saying operator, let's say a person is attaching the collar to the body of the shirt. So that operator, that particular operator is going to do the job of attaching the collar to the body for the entire shipment. The operator is not going to change. So one operator is going to do one operation for the entire shipment. So that is how we are looking at the possibility of making homogeneous products. Now, when we say homogeneous products, there's a question mark, because as humans, we are known to vary in terms of our moods, our physical capabilities, and there are so many other environmental factors. A very small example is, first thing in the morning when labor or the operators, when they come to the factory, they are full of energy. But when they are about to leave at 5 o'clock in the evening, they are already tired. So the last 5 to 10 pieces that they have made in a tired physical state, the quality is going to be slightly different than the quality of those garments which are made first thing in the morning, where the person was full of energy and with a lot of positivity and other things. So when we're saying homogeneous products, we can only say this with a pinch of salt, where there is a degree of error. Okay, so we are talking about now sampling a lot. So sampling a lot means, let's say there are various lots. You have got an order of 5,000 pieces, and it has to be sent in 2 lots. First lot of 2,000 pieces, second lot of 3,000 pieces. So you're going to make 2,000 pieces first, and then 3,000 pieces second. So the 2,000 piece is going to be called the first lot, and 3,000 pieces will be called the second lot. 1 second. Okay, so how do we sample a lot? As in, if you look at certain number of people, a certain number of quantity of products, how do you draw out the samples for inspection? Now, let me make this slightly more clearer, that a producer who is producing the goods has to check 100% of the goods. But in case of you, let's say you are the one who has given the order to a producer. In that case, you should not accept the shipment or the delivery without checking it. Now, what we are saying is that the factory has already checked 100% of the goods. Now, your representative or your inspector, when goes to inspect the shipment of 2,000 pieces, your inspector is not supposed to again open all pieces and check all the pieces, because if you do that, it's going to take a hell of a lot of time. That's one. Number two is you open all the pieces. Now, these are all packed pieces, correct pieces, nicely done. You open all of them, you check all of them. You have, again undone the ironing and, the appearance of the garment. So again, it has to be ironed. So if it is again ironed, you would want to check it again. That becomes a vicious cycle. So what we are saying is that out of 2,000 pieces, if you just check about 50 or 60 odd pieces, you'll be able to make out whether the entire shipment is correctly made or not. So when we are in the process of deciding how many pieces should we check, so that we are able to, with a reasonable degree of accuracy, we are able to ascertain the true quality of the entire shipment. So the number that we decide on is called sampling. The sampling a lot, sampling or taking a sample is the process of selecting items from a production lot for evaluation. And this is something which the inspector has to do. The sample is assumed to represent the overall range of quality. And sampling is a critical process. A sample is assumed to represent the overall range of quality means that if there are 2,000 pieces in a lot, and there are, let's say, 3 sizes, and it is in 2 colors. So it is commonsensical to say that you will be checking at least few pieces in all the sizes and a few pieces in all the colors also. It cannot happen that you are going to check just few sizes and a few colors and not look at or totally ignore one of the colors or one of the sizes. So if you want to, yes.
Karisma is in waiting room.
1 second. Okay. So when you're doing the sampling, you have to ensure that the whatever you are drawing out, they represent the overall quality. So meaning, putting it in a simple manner, in the context of NIFT, if you want to do a survey of with the students of NIFT, you will be talking to not just FMS students, because all of them are PG. You should also be talking to the undergraduate students. But then if you're talking about undergrad students, you should be talking also to the BF Tech people, because technology people are absolutely different from the design people. And when you're talking about design people, you can't justifiably say that all design people are alike, because fashion design, fashion communication, textile design, all of them are so different. So if you do want to do a survey in NIFT, you should be, the least that you have to do is you have to take at least one girl and one boy from every class, from every semester, so that you are able to say that whatever results come out, you are able to say that we have at least talked to the representatives of every class, and that to not just a boy, also a girl. And if someone says that, why just one girl and one boy, so maybe you go ahead with 2 boys and 2 girls, so that at least in a class of 30 people, you have talked to at least 4 people, which is roughly more than 10%. So that's how we go about when we are talking about drawing out samples from a shipment, from a delivery which has to be inspected. Now, sampling is a critical process. It's critical because it has to be done correctly, so that because you are only checking few pieces, you have to be careful so that you don't miss out on the problems that may be existing in the shipment. So there could be a problem with one color, or there could be a problem with one size. If you miss out on one color or one size, you it would totally go undetected. So therefore, sampling is a critical process. Sampling is based on common sense, initially speaking. Then, of course, today we are talking about using statistics, of course, using scientific principles. And all of this is going to be very evident for you as we go ahead. Now, sampling is based on common sense, statistical analysis, and scientific principles. We'll see that. Now, sampling a lot. Now, sample size depends on lot size, AQL, buyer's confidence, and type of defects. Now, I'm sure you would agree that if there are 500 pieces in a lot, and if there are 2,000 pieces in a lot, obviously you are going to draw out or inspect more number of pieces in case of a lot of 2,000. And if the quantity is 500, you are going to draw out a lesser number of pieces. So higher the size of the shipment, more the number of pieces that you would want to take out to check. Second is AQL. AQL is acceptable quality level, which we are going to discuss in the last section of this session. And so what we're saying is AQL is in terms of number. It can be 1, AQL can be 1, it can be 4, 2.5, whatever. Now, just to give you a feel, AQL 4 means your tolerance 4 is roughly, you can say 4%, meaning to say that out of 100 pieces, you are ready to accept 4 defectives. If we are saying AQL is 2.5, it means in a lot size of 100, you will not take defectives more than 2.5%. And AQL 1 would mean it is far more strict. Out of 100, you will only tolerate 1 defect. AQL 0 means there is absolutely no tolerance. In a lot of 100 pieces, you are not ready to tolerate even a single defect or a single mistake. Now, AQL 0 is something which is more applicable to pharmaceutical industry or to aviation, people making aeroplanes, where you can't have any defectives. Everything has to be absolutely fail-proof, 0 tolerance. So that's about AQL. Sample size also depends on buyer's confidence. If the buyer is confident on you, then they are not going to check a lot of pieces. They are just going to do a cursory glance and inspect lesser number of pieces, and they are pretty much okay with your capabilities and with your integrity and honesty. So if the buyer's confidence is high, in your case, they are going to, their sample size is going to be lesser. They are going to draw out lesser number of pieces to check. And type of defects, the kind of product that you have made, if that product is very basic, so in that case, basic products would mean the defects are also very minor kinds. So if the type of defect is minor, then the number of pieces that you would want to check will be very less. But if you are making a complex product where the possible defects can be of a major kind, then in that case, you are going to draw out more number of pieces and check very rigorously. Okay, and then the next pointer is attribute sampling. Check conformance to specs, whether they are conforming or not. So attribute is like one very small, simple example is the measurement. So attribute sampling is one of the attribute is measurement, and therefore when you are taking out the samples, you simply first check all the measurements of the garment. Second attribute can be the fit or the fall of the garment. So whenever there is an inspection, you will see that there are pieces which will be drawn out. They will be checked for measurement, and they will then be put on the dress form or the dummy to see whether the overall garment appearance is good or not. That's the second attribute. There are n number of attributes which are considered while doing the inspection of a garment shipment. What is the point at which the entire lot becomes unacceptable to buyer? What is the point at which the entire lot becomes unacceptable to buyer? It's something like, in human case, you are tolerating certain people, and these people are, let's say, continuously making fun of you, or they are behaving in a particular manner which you don't like. So there is a tipping point beyond which you say that, listen, I'm not going to tolerate anymore. That is that point which is unacceptable to you. So So different people would have different tipping points. But in case of the industry, we have just one tipping point clearly defined, well in advance, even before you are taking the order from the buyer. That you have to ask the buyer, sir, what is your tipping point? What is that point beyond which you will not tolerate? So let me know that, so that if I'm able to do it, or if my production people says, yes, we can give this kind of quality level, then I'll take orders. Otherwise, I won't take orders. So now sample should contain each style, each color, each size. Like I said, if there are 3 styles, obviously you want to check all the styles. And amongst the style, within the styles, if the whatever number of color combinations are there, you're going to check all the colors, and you're also going to check all the sizes. You can't be ignoring any of them. So to make it a little more clear, if you see this sampling a lot. So if you see the first example, if the order is in white and black, and the ratio is 2:1, then when you draw out samples, in that case, the number of pieces that you take out, in that also, there will be white and black, and they'll be in the proportion same, 2:1. And if you go to the second line, if you are, and now we talked about the color, white and black, 2:1. So therefore, the checking will also be done 2:1. And the second one is, if you are looking at only white, and if you see that white is in small, medium, and large, and their ratio is 1:2:1, then the number of pieces that we take out for checking, that should also be in the ratio 1:2:1, small is to medium is to large. So sample should be free of bias. Only uppermost sample is pulled out, only one color or size is selected. That should not happen. Sample should be free of bias, meaning to say that none of the sizes or none of the colors should be ignored. Okay, now we look at the types of samples. So random samples are free of bias. Free of bias means each sample or each piece, the probability of picking any one piece is the same as any other piece. Meaning to say that if you take a carton which is full of garments, let's say 20 garments, then there are some garments which are at the top, some are in the middle, some are at the bottom. So the method of taking out samples should be in such a manner that from 1 to 20, any garment can be picked up. So sometimes what used to happen earlier was that people would just take out the first 2 samples from the top, and you check it. And then based on that, you decide the quality and whether and give your go ahead or reject the shipment. So what the factories would do is they'll keep the best of samples at the top. So because they know that you only pick up samples from the top. So when the inspectors came to know about this, what they started doing was they started picking out a few samples on the top and a few samples on the bottom. Today, what happens is that if from a carton we have to pick out 3 pieces, we take one from the top, one from the middle, and one from the bottom. So by doing this, we are doing this sampling, which is free of bias. All the pieces have an equal chance of getting selected. We go to the next line, which is a representative sample. It should include all the color, size, etc. So there are 2 things. One is tables of random samples, and the second is numbered cards from a deck. So tables of random samples, again, if you revisit statistics, there is a book which has tables of random samples. There are random numbers to it. So you just follow the numbers given in that table, and you can follow the numbers and take out the samples. Meaning to say that let's say there are 20 pieces from which you have to take out samples. So this random number table, you will see the first number is 3, second is 8, third is 13, fourth is 17. So you just read out these numbers and ask the person that please take out piece number 3 and 7 and 13 and 7. So this becomes fairly unbiased. The person who's offering the inspection does not know which number piece, which sample number are you going to ask for. So they will have to ensure that all the pieces have been made correctly. They cannot make a fool of you. So that is one table of random sample. You can also check it on the internet. It is used for sampling processes. The second is numbered cards from a deck. This is again, there's a deck of cards, and just like you play cards, you have 52 cards. Similarly, there's a numbered card from the deck, and you can take the deck, shuffle it, and let's say you have to check 5 samples. So take out 5 cards randomly. So whatever numbers are there, accordingly the supervisor can take out those pieces. Then you can examine those pieces. This is again one method of drawing out samples in an unbiased manner. The last line that you see, pulling out samples from the top, convenient sampling. Now this is something which should be avoided. It is not a good representation, and manufacturers normally keep good pieces at the top. So unfortunately speaking, the inspectors go to check, and the factory, they are trying to fool you or trying to do things in such a manner that somehow the shipment gets accepted. The real problem is that even if the shipment has been okayed by an inspector, and then this entire shipment goes to the retail stores, and then it is sold to the customers. If at all there is a problem with the garment, and the inspector could not, catch it, ultimately it will be used. Ultimately, every piece will be sold and it will be used by the customer. So ultimately, if the customer comes back to you that, how the hell have you given me a bad piece? That is going to be a disaster. So this is something which sometimes the producers, they fail to understand, or they choose to ignore it. Because you want to get your shipment cleared, accepted, therefore you are doing all kinds of things so that the inspector is not able to catch you. That does not mean that ultimately you will not be. And there is an international rule that the ultimate liability lies with the manufacturer. Meaning to say that if I have made something, I have given it to you, you have checked it, you have not been able to find out any problem. But ultimately, if the consumer claims that I have been, I've been given a wrong piece, then all the penalties will not be borne by the brand which is selling it. It will be borne by the manufacturer who made it. So this is something that has to be remembered at all times by the manufacturer. We'll go to slide number 38, which is random number table. So if you look at the table, like I said, the numbers are given in rows and columns. And I've just taken one of the rows which read 112, 241, 442, 312, 134. Now, if you see in the picture, there are cartons kept one on top of the other, and there are 4 rows of cartons, there are 4 columns of carton, and there are 4 layers of carton. So if you see in terms of XYZ axis, you have the cartons placed, and 112 means first row, first column, and second layer. 241 means second row, fourth column, and first layer, something like that. So it's fairly clear, very simple that if you just follow XYZ axis. So if you say X is 1 and Y is 1 and Z is 2, you can easily locate which carton has to be taken up. So the inspector says, please place the carton in this fashion, the way you are seeing on the slide. And then I'm going to give you the numbers, which is like 112, 241, 442. And then accordingly take out these cartons. And from these cartons, now the inspector will decide how many pieces to be picked out from the top, from the bottom, and from the middle. And then the inspection will begin. So this is one way of using the random number table. Okay, we have also types of samples. We have stratified sample. Lot is stratified into segments, homogeneous segments. Like we said, size-wise, color-wise, style-wise. So all stratas have to be considered. And then the second one is constant percentage sample. Now this one is now constant percent sample is, let's say you're working with Zara, and Zara says that, whatever is the shipment size, my inspector is going to check 1% of the order size. So in that case, if the order size is 100, the inspector will check one piece. And if the order is 1 lakh pieces, the inspector will check 1,000 pieces. Now, any one of you, if you can say what is wrong with these two in both the examples, 1 out of 100 and 1,000 out of 1 lakh. Okay, so the question is that if someone says that we are going to check 1% of the order size, so it means 1 out of 100 or 1,000 out of 1 lakh pieces. What is wrong in both the cases? Or is there anything wrong? Okay, so let me share the answer with you. See, if you take 1% only flat, the problem is if you take one piece out of 100 pieces, it is not going to be represent the overall quality. 1 out of 100 is too less. And checking 1,000 out of 1 lakh, if you check 400 to 500 pieces also, that would suffice. But checking 1 out of 100 pieces shipment is too less. So that's why inadequate protection for small lots when we are saying just 1%. And if you are checking 1,000 for a shipment of 1 lakh pieces, there's too much protection for large lots. Meaning to say that there is a, statistically speaking, if you check more than a certain number of pieces, it is not going to add any value. Meaning to say that if you just check 500 pieces out of 1 lakh pieces, you will be able to ascertain the quality level of the shipment. Even if you check 1,000 pieces, you would get the same result. So there is no point in checking those additional 500 pieces. Just checking 500 is more than enough rather than 1,000 pieces. And we'll see how does it, illustrate. Now, there's another type of sample which is systematic sample. Systematic sample is 1, 6, 11, 16, 21, 26. What we're saying is we are checking every fifth piece. If you check the first piece, then wait for 5 pieces, and then you check the 6th piece, then you check the 11th piece. Now, this is valid only in such cases where there is equal space interval or equal intervals of time, meaning to say, and used when same product is being produced for months at a time. Let's say someone is making men's underwear for you. Let's say it is Lux Cozy something, and it is banyan, and the same banyan is being made throughout the year. In that case, what your inspector does is on a daily basis, let's say there are 5,000 pieces being manufactured. So your inspector on a daily basis checks 100 pieces in all the sizes, whatever size have been made that day. So the inspector checks 100 pieces, and the inspector checks 100 pieces every day. So that does make a lot of sense, because the same product is being continuously. So you just want to check regularly at regular intervals. Just in case anything goes wrong, you'll be able to catch it. And now we come to the sampling plan. This is something which is more universal, accepted worldwide, and also part of the AQL, acceptable quality level. So how much to select for true representation? To give you an example, if you want to know the true characteristics or the true behavior of a NIFTian, let's say true behavior of NIF Patna students, there is a certain number of students, at least that many students, who you will have to meet and interview or do a questionnaire survey. A certain number. Only then you will get the true representation. But having said that, let's say there are 800 students and you have surveyed already 100 people. What I'm saying is that after this 100 people, if you do another 100, the results are going to be the same because everyone now seems to be repeating the same answers. So then you know that, if you want to know something about NIF Patna, just talk to 100 people. That is more than enough. If you talk to less than 100 people, just 50 people, it will not be a true representation. If it is more than 100 students, you are wasting time. The results are going to be the same. So how much to select for true representation? Acceptance sampling. Acceptance sampling is inspection and evaluation of sample products selected from production lots for predetermined and defined quality characteristics after the product has been produced. Acceptance sampling is the number of pieces that I'm going to draw out, and then I'm going to check the various attributes as per the quality decided, and based on that, either I'm going to accept or I'm going to reject. Now, this sampling plan was initially invented and used by the military, US military. So that's MIL Standard 105E, which was used by the US military for purchasing supplies. Now, this method was later on picked up by ANSI and ASQ in their Z 1.4 1993, just like ASTM, American Society for Testing Materials. So similarly, we have ANSI and ASQ, which is related to for testing for inspections. So ANSI picked it up from US military, and then later on, eventually, this process was integrated into AQL, acceptable quality level, and we will see what does it look like, and is used universally by most of the prestigious buyers of the world. Now, how is sampling done as per AQL and what was followed by US military? We have this example over here. If you have a pen and paper, you can write this. We have an example here. The order size is, let's say, 40,000 pieces of memory sticks. And the deal is that it has to be made in one batch by the supplier. So the buyer says the order size is 40,000 pieces of memory sticks. You have to make it in one batch. And the sampling plan that we will accept is single. The severity level is going to be normal, and the level is going to be 2. And my AQL is going to be in 3 parts, which is in critical, I'll take 0. In major, I'll take 1.5%. And in minor problems, I'll take up to 4%. Now, this is the brief that has been given to you by the buyer. Now, how do you decipher it? So you have to find out how many pieces will the inspector inspect. And upon inspection, how many pieces of how many occurrences of minor defects will be allowed, and how many occurrences of major defects will be allowed. Critical is 0, it means that any critical defect, the entire shipment will get rejected. So what I need you to remember is 40,000 pieces, one batch, single sampling plan, normal severity, level 2, and AQL is 0, critical 0, major 1.5, and minor 4.0. If you can see the table, the order size was 40,000 pieces, which is the lot size. So if you see the table, the column on the left side, which says lot size. So in that case, in there you can see the bands 2 to 8, 9 to 15, 16 to 25, 26 to 50. So what you're saying is that if your order size was, let's say, 350, at 350, you will have to see in the lot size. That lot size 350 is going to fall under 281 to 500. Right now, your order size is 40,000. So that 40,000 falls under 35,001 to 1,50,000 pieces. So you can locate your order size in the lot size, which is 35,001 to 1,50,000. And then the second thing that was given was that the severity level is normal, general inspection level. So on the right side, you have two sections. One is special inspection levels and the other is general inspection. The general inspection level is normal. And special inspection is strict. So in the normal also, the what was mentioned was severity level is normal and level is 2. So if you see in the general inspection level, you have to take the second one. You have 1, 2, 3, you take the second one. So from when you choose the second one, you drop and you go to the lot size. Your 40,000 pieces falls under 35,001 to 1,50,000. So you go horizontal from the lot size and you go vertically down from the general inspection level 2. And what is the alphabet that you get? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So you can see the alphabet, you are getting N. N for Nigeria.
Yes, sir. Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay. So when you're getting N in the next table, now you can see N
500.
Okay, so in the next slide, which is table 2, it shows single sampling plans for normal inspection. Now you look at the first column on the left, which reads sample size code letter. So you go to that alphabet N, and in that N, you get sample size 500. This 500 means out of those 40,000 pieces, your inspector has to take out 500 pieces. And in that 500 pieces, the inspector is going to check for the defects. And the inspector knows how to categorize the defects amongst critical, major, and minor. Critical, the buyer has already said that I will not take a single critical defect, which is 0. So that's one. Second one is that in case of AQL, the buyer says in case of critical, the acceptance level is 0. Major, it is 1.5% and minor is 4%. So major 1.5 and minor 4. So if you see 1.5, so you have seen the sample size code letter N. You have seen the sample size, which is 500. Now we move to the horizontal bar at the top that you see acceptable quality levels, normal inspection. Under that, you can see those, you can see 0.065, 0.10, 0.15, 0.25, 0.4, 0.65, 1, 1.5, 2.5, 4, 6.5, and 10. Under each of these numbers, you see AC and RE is written. The AC means accept and RE means reject. Now, if you go to 1.5, under acceptable quality level, normal inspection, if you go to 1.5, under that you will see AC and RE, which is acceptable and reject. Now you go down to that level, which matches with N is equal to 500. So at that level, you see there are two numbers written, 14 and 15. Now 14 means accept, 15 means reject. The buyer says, for major defects, I will only take 1.5%, which means the buyer is saying that if there are 14 major defects, up to 14 major defects, I'll accept the shipment. But if there are 15 or more than 15 major defects, I'll reject it. Now, the buyer has also said that in case of minor defects, I'll take 4%. So under AQL, you see 4.0. That 4.0, if you go down to the level where N is equal to 500, you see the arrow, the head of the arrow. Now that head of the arrow is pointing upwards, meaning to say that for all the spaces which is occupied by the arrow, the number which is given above the arrow will be applicable, and that numbers are 21 and 22. So below 4, you go down to the level of n, 500, you get 21 and 22, meaning to say that when the inspector is checking, then if the minor defects are up to 21, then the shipment will be accepted. If it is more than 21, which is 22 or above, then the shipment will be rejected. So what we are essentially saying over here is that for a shipment of 40,000 pieces, 500 pieces will be taken out and 0 critical defects will be taken. Up to 14 major defects will be taken and up to 21 minor defects will be taken. In any of these 3 categories, if your defects goes beyond these levels, any one of them, if the minor is more than the acceptable level, or if the major, any one, is above what has been given as acceptance, your shipment will be rejected. So if you go to the 45th slide, the conclusion for single plan is your code letter is n. So you'll have to draw 500 pieces randomly from the total lot size. And here are the limits. The products are accepted if no critical defects and no more than 14 major defects and no more than 21 minor defects. So example, if you find 0 critical defects, 17 major defects and 12 minor defects, the projects are rejected. Why? Why will the shipment be rejected if there are 0 critical defects, 17 major defects and 12 minor defects?
Sir, in major defect, acceptance level is till 14 defects. So it's exceeding 14. So that's why.
That's why it is rejected. But in case of minor, it's not a problem because 21 is the acceptance level, you just have 12. And in case of, in the second case, 0 critical defect is okay, 10 major defect is again less than 14. And in case of 21 minor defects, it is okay because 21 minor defect is the limit. So therefore, the shipment will be accepted. So, and remember, we have discussed this for a single plan. There is something called a single plan, and there's something called a double plan, and there's something called a multiple plan. What we are saying here is, a single plan means एक बार में निकालना है और एक ही बार में या तो accept होगा या reject होगा. If there's a double plan, that means one time you draw out. If accepted, nothing like it. If rejected, draw out new pieces and check. If it is okay, then it's okay. If the second time also gets rejected, then it's totally rejected. So in case of double plan, in case of double plan, you get 2 chances. That is with certain conditions. This is fairly simple. You just have to follow the table, not a big science here. So the next question is, if the lot size is 7,000 pieces, normal severity, which is general, and the level is 2. AQL critical is 0, major is 2.5 and minor is 6.5. What is the minimum rejection level for critical, major and minor? So critical, I'm going to answer that. Critical is 0. For major and minor, what will be the number of pieces which will be acceptable for major and minor? So first thing you have to tell me is 7,000 pieces falls under which category? Meaning to say, how many pieces will you take out to inspect in case of 7,000 pieces? So you'll have to go to slide number 43. and you will see that 7,000 falls under 3,201 to 10,000 pieces. So 7,000 is between 3,200 to 10,000, and again normal level, and level is 2. So your alphabet that you are going to get is
L.
anyone?
L, sir.
L. So then we go to slide 44. L tells you that you have to draw 200 pieces. So that's the second question answered, that you have to, the number of pieces that have to taken out is 200. Now you have to say critical is given 0, so 0 means no tolerance. And then for major we have 2.5%. So 2.5% means how many pieces will be tolerated? So 2.5 and L 200. If you go horizontally from the L level,
10
and
pieces.
if you go to 2.5, how much?
10 pieces.
10 pieces.
10. 10 is acceptable, 11 is rejected. And then the next one, minor is 6.5. So again, from L you go till 6.5, and how much do we get?
21.
21.
21. So 21 is acceptable, 22 will be rejected. Okay, so this was the most important aspect of AQL. If you understand this, most of the things are fairly simple to understand. So let's go to now things are going to be fairly simple. Next slide is 47, types of sampling plan. Okay, so 47 slide, types of sampling plan. So in this slide, what we're doing is we are comparing new supplier versus existing supplier. And in fact, even if I were not to tell you this, you'd still be able to figure out this. If it's a new supplier, you are going to be a lot more careful. So therefore, you are going to take out a larger number of pieces, as in a higher number of pieces to check the quality level of the shipment. In case of existing supplier, you are going to take out smaller amount of pieces because you already know you have an understanding with the supplier. You understand what is the level of the supplier, and there's what is the level of integrity, honesty. So you know the person, so you take out lesser number of pieces. In case of new suppliers, very frequently you will check. But in case of existing supplier, you will not be checking so frequently. Every now and then you may check. In case of new supplier, you are going to be very strict, very stringent. But in case of existing supplier, it's going to be a little less rigorous. And in case of new supplier, you will do a very close inspection. You're going to look at things from very close quarter to see kuch gadbad to nahi. But in case of existing suppliers, it is a relaxed evaluation. Meaning to say, dur se bhi dekh karke, and you say, ah, theek hai, chalo, koi nahi. So it's more relaxed. So it's fairly commonsensical that in case of existing suppliers, you are a little more liberal. There's a fair level of understanding that you've had. But in case of new supplier, and rightly so, new supplier, you don't know them so well. So obviously you have to be more careful. So that's that. And then we come to the types of sampling plan. Sampling plan may differ based on whether the inspection is done as per the following. This is, and you should know, all the three of them are very interesting, and these three are valid in different situations. So there is one is lot by lot basis, the other is skip lot basis, third is continuous production basis. First one is lot by lot basis. You are giving different kinds of orders to various exporters. And these orders are like, sometimes it is 500, sometimes it is 2,000 pieces, sometimes it's 5,000, keeps on changing. So in that case, on the basis of every lot, you are going to decide how many pieces are going to check. So samples are pulled from each production lot, preferably in case of new firms. A lot, and lot by lot, what we're saying is, in case of new firms, you use this method. A lot of T-shirts categorized by color and size and the corresponding sampling plan. If you can see at the bottom, one section is the production lot, the other is the sample size. So let's say the production lot, the actual quantity is in gray color, you have 25 pieces in small, 50 pieces in medium, and 35 pieces in large. In total, there are 110 pieces. And likewise, you have it for white and aqua. So this is the actual size. Now, based on the table that we saw, what we can see here is that in total, we have to take out 37 pieces. Now, when we take out 37 pieces, we know that we have to take out pieces in gray also, white also, aqua also. And we also have to ensure that we are taking out pieces in small, medium, and large also. So based on the ratio that we have split the sample size. So in that same ratio, you will see that we have taken out small 3 pieces, medium 5 pieces, and large 5 pieces. And likewise for white and aqua in the 3 sizes. So these numbers have come from those tables, and they are very close to the proportion of the order also, color wise and size wise. So this is lot by lot for every order that you give. And let's say one order is split in 2 lots, then for every lot you are going to make this table and decide as to what is the total number of pieces and in which color, which size, how many pieces will you take out. So this is lot by lot basis where you are doing it with a new supplier, and especially when you are giving different kinds of orders in different sizes. Second is skip lot basis. Now this one is something where you skip. 10 lot है उसमें 2 ही lot check किया या 3 lot check किया 7 skip कर गए. But this is something which you will only do if the goods are basic, the manufacturer is established, and you know that the kind of defects are minor, major is never there. एक साल से कभी मेजर ऐसा कोई डिफेक्ट आया नहीं. The team is very good, the quality team is also good. So out of 10 lots, you just take 1 or 2 of them, or whatever is comfortable with you. And so when we have basic products and you're working with, we're talking about existing suppliers, then you can use skip lot basis. Now, just in case you skip some lots and then a major problem is found in one of the lots which were not checked, then you stop skipping lots. Then you start checking each of the lots. Till such time, again, the manufacturer has been able to win your confidence. So skip lot basis only if this thing is happening, that the supplier is existing and the products are basic. Third one is continuous production sampling. This is fairly simple. People are making the same product for you for months and months. So in that case, like we discussed earlier, that your representative is going to go, let's say every day person is checking 100 pieces, or maybe your representative goes once every week and checks 500 or 1000 pieces randomly, and then assesses the quality and everything is okay, then the shipment is accepted. So continuous production sampling is only possible if basic products are being made and the same thing is being made for long period of time. Only then you can use this. Now this one is a little interesting. A standard product is one that meets all specification and firm's requirements, which is fairly well understood. Now sometimes acceptable lots get rejected, and the lots which should be rejected, they get accepted. Now why would this happen? This can happen that a lot which should have been rejected, there is a possibility that all the samples that you have taken out, they do not carry the defects, whereas there is a large number of pieces which have the defects, and if the entire shipment were to be checked, it should have been rejected. But because it is a random sampling process, the number of pieces that you took out, who knows what pieces would come out, and it is just a matter of chance that you have taken out the pieces and most of them were correct, so you accepted it. This is called type 1 error, which is alpha risk. In this case, what can happen is that a lot which should be rejected reaches the retailer, and then of course it will be then bought by the customer. That is going to be risky because ultimately it is going to come back to you. Now, sorry. So this example of the lot which should have been rejected and it has been accepted, that is beta. That's a beta risk, where inferior lots get accepted, which is type 2 error. Type 1 error is the opposite of this, where shipment should have been accepted but it has been rejected because unfortunately, whatever pieces were taken out for inspection, most of them had defects. Although if the entire shipment was inspected, if the entire shipment was inspected, it would have been accepted. But as a matter of chance, it can happen that you're unlucky and all the bad pieces were taken out, and therefore using the AQL table, your shipment got rejected. Now this is called alpha type error, and alpha type error is a bad news for the suppliers, that your correct shipment has been rejected. But beta risk is where what should not have been accepted has been accepted, and then the goods have reached the retail store, and then it reaches the consumers, and then it's going to be a much bigger problem. Okay, so we go to slide number 53. Advantages of sampling. What is the advantage of sampling? One is economical. You can't be checking all the pieces. It's going to be very costly affair. The time taken would be also a lot. Destructive testing. Now, if I were to sell you hand grenades or bombs, are you going to tell me that are the bombs going to explode? How do we check? And if you were to check all the bombs, then there is no shipment left, because all of them have been exploded. So wherever we have destructive testing of actually checking whether this product is working or not, obviously you will take the help of sampling, that out of 500 pieces you take out randomly 10 or 15 of them exploded. If all of them get exploded, let's say one did not explode, 14 exploded, it means okay, fine, the shipment can be accepted. So in case of destructive testing, again, sampling helps. And third is sampling improves delivery schedules, because sampling means taking out lesser pieces, so it's going to take lesser amount of time, and therefore your delivery schedule is also going to be lesser. It is going to be improved, better. What are the disadvantages of sampling? First one that we discussed, alpha and beta risk. Second, provide less information than 100% inspection. मन तो है कि सारे pieces check करें, but you don't have that much of time, so you go ahead with checking less number of pieces. So yeah, with certain amount of risk, we take the advantage of sampling and we do the inspection. Ultimately, if there are some or the other little bit of problem may arise, but that can be handled. So therefore, let's not inspect everything. Just like you can't be interviewing all the 800 people of NIFT to research or do a consumer behavior survey. Because 800 people may not be available at the same time. It's going to take you more than 1 or 2 months time. It's going to be super expensive. So yeah, if you talk to all of them, the data is going to be superior, but you can't be talking to all of them because the advantages and disadvantages are not so well balanced. The disadvantages are very less and the advantage of sampling is higher. So we are okay with it. We can live with it. We will only talk to, let's say, 50 of them, and we are going to get pretty much fairly accurate results. One disadvantage of this sampling is inspection can be a tedious and boring process. And we'll see. Now you are also very bored. So I'll actually prove that you are bored. So read the next statement one time only. Please be honest. Don't read it 2 times. Just we go to the next slide, read the next statement one time only and count the number of F's present. So we go to slide number 55, count the number of F. And the first line number of F, don't count that. The paragraph in the bullet, only count the F's in that paragraph. And read it once only. Then I'll prove the point. There is no point for giving the right answer. Now, disadvantage of sampling, tedious and detailed nature of inspection can create boredom. Itna do table dekh karke, then you take out the numbers, फिर उसका check करो, checking so many pieces, you get so bored. So bored inspectors may miss a critical element. So by the way, how many F's did you count? So some people counted 18, some counted 19, and some counted 20. So some inspectors count too few and some too many. So the inspectors who get bored when they start counting too few, the risk is that they may miss out on some major defects. Now, in case of inspectors who deliberately find too many defects, what is the risk in that? The inspector is so finicky, so strict, and जबरदस्ती के डिफेक्ट्स निकाल रहे हैं, तो कोई भी शिपमेंट कभी जा ही नहीं पाएगी, सारा वो हमेशा वो रिजेक्ट होता रहेगा. So these are the two ends of the spectrum. One is where, you know, someone has become so liberal, and the other has become so strict that, you know, the shipment cannot leave. So both of them are dangerous. So that was the exercise that we had. The purpose of that exercise is that, you know, people count. It's human to count less or to count more.